Om Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Yesterday we saw what is Upanishad or Vedanta. Vedanta means Veda Anta, grossly meaning the end portion of Vedas. As the literal meaning connotes, comprises of the philosophical portion of the Vedas called Upanishad. So you should remember that the philosophical portion of Vedas are considered as Upanishad. Of about 280 Upanishads unearthed so far, among them 108 have been accepted as authentic texts, and out of them 11 have been commented upon by the recent masterminds or acharyas like Bhagavan Sri Shankaracharya ji, Ramanujacharya ji, Madhvacharya ji, and thus classified as major. So the other Upanishads are considered as minor. And Kaivalya Upanishad is one of the minor Upanishads. But it is called as minor not on account of their contents or in the depth of their thoughts or in the completeness of their exposition, but because no commentaries are available from the great acharyas. That is why people consider it as minor Upanishads, because great acharyas, they did not comment on it. The new initiates are generally prescribed these minor Upanishads only after a thorough study of the exhaustive commentaries by the great masters, means Bhashya, by the great masters on 5 or 6 of the major Upanishads. Thus, this became minor only with reference to the knowledge the students have already acquired as a result of their study of major Upanishads, and their reflection on these minor ones serves as an interesting revision of the knowledge already gathered. So very recently we have completed Ishavasya Upanishad with full commentary. So it will help us to contemplate on this Upanishad. Kaivalya Upanishad belongs to the Atharvana Veda. Its poetic diction, systematic development of thought, at once clear and concise, and scientific arrangement of highly knowledgeable thought, you can say, precise thought, philosophical ideas, make it one of the most striking minor Upanishads. So, Shatarudriya, okay, the term Shatarudriya is a prayer of 100 stanzas. Clear? So, very sacred and inspiring, involving Rudra, in other words, Lord Shiva. Why Rudra, I will tell later. Rodayaditi Rudraha. Someone has asked me, what is Rudra? Rodayaditi Rudraha. Oh, जिन्होंने रुलाता है वही रुद्र है. Who makes others crying. Others means abhakta. अभक्त को भक्ति के पथ में लाने के लिए जो रुलाते हैं वही रुद्र है. more explanations are there, but I am in force of telling something else. So that Shatarudriya, which forms a part of Taittiriya Samhita of the Yajurveda and was repeated by devotees with ardent faith and total dedication during the Vaidika period. There was a great commentator called Narayana. He was the commentator. He says that Kaivalya Upanishad as Brahma Shatarudriya. Brahma Shatarudriya. In other words, Shatarudriya, which glorifies the unconditioned Brahman as opposed to the personal God, Lord Shiva. Clear? So, true to the style of Upanishads, where masters consider the story form as a conversation between the teacher and his disciple as the most apt device to make the subject easily intelligible or tangible in the Upanishad, Ashvalayana, here in this Upanishad, Ashvalayana, the great teacher of Rig Veda, is a disciple in this Upanishad, and Lord Brahmaji, the creator himself, is the teacher. Clear? So, Ashvalayana, the great teacher of Rig Veda, is the disciple in this Upanishad, and Lord Brahmaji, the creator himself, is the teacher, which makes this as a most valuable amongst the minor Upanishad. Clear? Now, see, again I will repeat something because it is needed. The philosophical portion of the Vedas is called Upanishads. They are found appended to all the 4 Vedas, Veda volumes. And thus we have Upanishads belong to the Rig Veda, some belong to the Yajur Veda, some are found in the Sama Veda, and yet others in the Atharvana Veda. Each Vaidika textbook reveals its contents under 4 sections. First one is the mantra portion, mantra bhaga, containing lyrical poems of exquisite charm, describing and adoring the beauty of nature and the power of the phenomenal forces. The second section is called the Brahmana section, containing the ritualistic injunctions and prescriptions for the various ceremonies. Clear? Then third one is the Aranyaka portion, containing various methods of meditation called the Upasana. And the Upanishads, containing the philosophical discussion that had taken place at various periods of time between different teachers and their students regarding the eternal purpose of creation and the great goal of existence. Clear? So, the very term Upanishad, Sad is the dhatu, sadalru, as a very purposeful meaning and deep significance, indicating the contents. You know, grammar, Sanskrit grammar helps us in expounding the meaning. So, this is very significant, and this content or the thing has been used in the literature also. The Western scholars mainly, they derive Upanishad from the word shad. They told, means they understood in that way, though it's a very good understanding also. Shad means to sit. When this word shad is preceded by the prepositions ni, meaning down, and upa, meaning near, then the Upanishad comes to mean the near down sit literature. Near down sit literature. The term naturally describes the literature as that which cannot be directly learned by the student from any given textbook. It is necessary that he should approach a teacher, sit near in front of him, down, in an attitude of reverence and devotion, and listen to the teacher's expositions. Clear? However, the Indian scholars give a deeper significance to the term Upanishad. By reading the word shad to mean distraction. Yesterday I told Visharana Gati Avasadana. So Visharanam they have taken distraction. The term Upanishad means a literature that destroys our present ignorance of reality by revealing the experience of the Supreme. And when Shad means gati, approach. Then the term indicates that it is a literature that helps the student to approach or to attain the supreme wisdom. Clear? So, altogether, there are about 280 Upanishads so far unearthed, and the scholars are still continuing their research on fixing their authenticity, the relative dates of their composition, and therefore the chronology of their development. Clear? 108 of them have already been accepted by the Pandita class as Pandita means class as orthodox and authentic texts. Of these 108 Upanishads, 11 have been commented upon by the recent masterminds I told you. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, Ramanujacharya ji, Madhvacharya ji, then later on so many scholars. Because of the exhaustive and learned exposition by these masterminds, the 11 Upanishads has become naturally the most important texts for the students because the acharyas have commented. Great acharyas have commented. So relatively, therefore the Upanishads other than these 11 are considered as minor Upanishads. It must be particularly noted that they are not minor ones in their contents or in the depth of their thoughts or in the completeness of their exposition. Repeatedly, I'm telling because a lot of people, why minor Upanishad, Swamiji? Why not take major Upanishad? They have no idea about the major and minor. Okay. They are minor only with reference to the knowledge the students have already gathered from the 11 Upanishads with the help of the famous exhaustive commentaries. In fact, some of the minor Upanishads, with their revealing expressions and vivid terms of exposition, throw a flood of light to illuminate some of the unrevealed corners in the 11 major Upanishads. Clear? Very often, the minor Upanishads repeat the stanzas and mantras of the major Upanishads. In short, after a complete study of the elaborate commentaries that open up the intricate philosophical categories of the Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma, as expounded in the major Upanishads to all serious students, these texts become, in fact, elementary and minor. Elementary in contents and minor in stature. These Upanishads are generally prescribed for all students who have already gone through an extensive study of any major Upanishads. For them, reflection upon the minor Upanishads becomes, as it were, an interesting revision of what they had already gathered from the major Upanishads. Clear? So never think that we are studying. We are getting the opportunity to study the minor Upanishads. It's our great privilege actually. So, what remains to tell more? Right. I think no, nothing is remaining. The Upanishads are not cradle, you know. Upanishads are not cradle. They are not the hasty declarations of a man of wisdom under some divine arch. They in themselves constitute a science, the science of life, just as in physics we have very many scientists, and each one adding to the total knowledge of the world of objects by his own theories and discoveries. We have in the lore of Upanishads an array of mighty men who had enriched its contents by their dedicated investigations in contemplations upon and discoveries on the source of life. The spiritual realm was thus opened up by them, and each Upanishad invites the student to enter into this glorious world of light and knowledge, of peace and perfection. No blind compromises are found anywhere in the Upanishads. Never do the rishis fanatically insist upon any belief. At every stage, they closely observe and analyze the known and very logically deduce the possibilities of the unknown. Thereafter, they prescribe techniques by which the students can grow themselves into a state of unfoldment in themselves, wherein they too can come to experience what the Upanishad theories insist upon. The Kaivalya Upanishad belongs to the Atharvana Veda, and it is one of the striking Upanishads among the minor ones. We will study so beautiful, beautiful mantras and very common mantras, what we chant actually when we welcome any swamis in the ashram or at our home. What the mantras we generally chant while we offer Purna Kumbha to him. You know, when generally a swami goes to any house, they offer Purna Kumbha. What is this Purna Kumbha? A small water pot, you know, tamar ghoti, tame ka, the small water pot made out of copper, and above it the mango leaves, and above it the coconut. and it is, threaded with the yellow thread, and yellow is not the color but the turmeric, and they offer it to the Swami, and the kalas is filled up with sacred water. It is kept on a dish and decoration and all those things. And then na karmana na prajaya na dhanena tyage naike, all those mantras. Rajadhirajaya prasanya sahine vayam vai sravano dadatu. All those mantras they chant. We will come, we will get the significances of those mantras in this Upanishad. So, why this is striking Upanishad? Especially because of its poetic diction, systematic development of thought, scientific arrangement of ideas, as also due to the comprehension of its vision and the richness of its philosophy. There is neither the exaggerating note of repetition nor the cumbersome burden of redundancy. It is spun from pure philosophy, carefully coded with subjective experience. The ideas weave themselves, woven themselves into a vivid pattern of the attractive reality. Here too, faithful to the tradition of Upanishads, we have a student approaching a teacher demanding knowledge. It must be noted that the student here is not the average type like me, nor is the student, a teacher, any ordinary like me. So, in this Upanishad, the student is the teacher of Rig Veda, Ashwalaya. And student is none other than the very creator himself, Brahmaji. Naturally, therefore, there is no beating about the bush here in the text. The teacher directly approaches the problem, and with minimum words, the entire picture of evolution of man and the subtle techniques of attaining the state of self-realization have been revealed over here. That we will see tomorrow. Hari Om Tat Sat.